Hi guys, I'm not in my usual place, but occasionally the Lord does something really stunning. And something happened. I'm not going to go into the whole story, and I'm actually kind of feeding some little sparrows that came. Earlier today, I was reminiscing about a special rose that I found that I bought for my mother to remember her on Mother's Day. So here I was posting something about my mom and Mother's Day, and I had gone to get some chili, so I was coming out of the parking lot, got in my car, and kind of was going around the parking lot to get out, and I looked up, and between the trees there was this cloud that looked like an angel. I mean, it was blue sky all around this thing. It looked like an angel facing to the right, and someone, like maybe another angel, kneeling in front of it. There was like a wing that you could see on the left, and kind of like a long flowing angel garb. And I was just so shocked. I stopped right in the middle of the street and took several pictures of it. Now, the strange thing is that if you have a copy of my book, The Almond Tree, Aaron's Rod, The Messiah King of Israel, you'll see on the back cover the big buck deer that came in a miraculous way. And the reason why I say that is because in all those years of living at our home, our family home, we never had a deer come into the yard. We never had a deer laying in the yard right across from the kitchen window looking at me in the window. And I tell that story in my book, which was really stunning. And this buck had huge antlers. So when he first came, they were fuzzy antlers, and then later the felt fell off of them, and they were like the hardened antlers. So it's a huge, amazing story in my book. And I would always tell him, I named him the Little Prince, and put him on the back cover of my book because there were some miraculous things involved in that. And so there was a situation that when my mom's sister had passed away and we were in Florida, we were going through this neighborhood, and all of a sudden a doe and two fawns showed up in somebody's front yard. Well, for many years, since my grandfather had died just before I was born, it was just my mom and her mother and her sister. So when she saw that at her sister's memorial, just around the time of her memorial, this deer with the two fawns reminded her of her life with her mother and her sister and herself, a doe and two fawns. Well, after my mother passed away, we had never had a doe or fawns, ever in our little village where we lived for nearly 50 years. Until we had that buck deer at the time I was writing my book in the yard. There had been, I would always tell the Little Prince, please go find a doe and have some fawns and come back. So he came back several years in a row, and he would come, around springtime. Well, after I saw this, cloud shaped like two angels in the sky, I just thought it was really neat, I'm not saying that it was angels, I'm just saying that the cloud resembled them. And there was nothing else in the blue sky like it. So I decided, I would go drive out to my little town and go to the post office, check my mail, and I turned a corner and I'm headed down the main street that goes to the little village. And off on the right-hand side of the road, after this little angel cloud experience, after having just spoken about honoring my mother on Mother's Day, there on the right-hand side of the road was just a doe, like the mother. And it was standing right close to the shoulder of, like a two-lane highway. So I turned my car around and came back, and I was parallel with it. And so I was able to get some video clips and some still shots of this deer. And it was just like, I don't know, the Holy Spirit does these things where these things show up in your life that represent something that you love. And He'll bring it at a time when you're, really needing a pick-me-up, or, a remembrance of someone that you love that's gone on. So the deer stood there nibbling on some of the tundra down below, and the cars were just whizzing past. As you'll see in my videos, you'll see how fast the cars were going. Nobody could see this deer. It blended in so well. You can't tell that it's blended in the video clips, but it really was. And I barely saw it except out of the corner of my eye as I was going past it. And, it was kind of like I was seeing a horse out of the corner of my eye. And that's why I did a U-turn and came back and saw that it was in fact a doe. And it was there by itself, and it was just such a neat wonderment, I guess you could call it. It just thrilled me, and I took as many video clips as possible. And then it got to the point where I was afraid that it was going to run across both lanes in front of me, and I wanted it to be able to get across the road without getting hit. So I was, I'd rolled down my window. I was trying to stop people, but they didn't really figure out what I was doing. They just thought I meant come flying around me. And, one guy rolled down his window and he's like, "What are you pointing at?" And I said, "It's a deer." And so he kept going. Nobody else pulled over. It was like nobody else saw it. So it was real strange. And nobody pulled over to photograph it or anything but me. So it got to the point where it looked up and it started crossing the street. And here comes a car. It zoomed by in that lane that it was getting ready to cross in. It got by it without seeing it. And then a car zoomed up past me and was flying up the road. It started to cross, got a little ways across, and I stuck my arm out and tried to wave this car down, which it couldn't tell what I was doing, and had no idea that the deer was crossing the road at that minute. Well, if I hadn't been there, this car would have been creamed by the deer coming in its windshield. So thank God, I told her, get across the road quick, and she ran into the brush and into the woods, and I told her to go up into the woods and stay there and don't come across the road again. So that's what she did. And then I went to the post office and came back, and I went real slow, and there was no sign of her. She had gone into the woods and disappeared, and it was really, really special. So this isn't your typical video that I'm posting, but just some exciting things that happened all in a row. There's a little bit more to the story, but I'm going to wait and see what develops with that in its completion. But these are just a few of the things that happened that I just kind of felt like, I don't know, the Holy Spirit just acknowledges that you love somebody, and maybe they see it from heaven that you are loving them. And right now I've got 2 little sparrows that have come up here, and I gave them some sunflower seeds and some cranberries that were dried, so they're loving it. I put some ice cubes out there so they could get a little drink of water, which they did, because the ice cubes kind of melted a little. So I just wanted to show you something special, and I hope it blesses you. Take it for what it's worth, but to me it means a lot. My mom, her favorite thing was deer, and just to have the doe there was special. And after my mom died, I forgot to tell you that I was heading down to the little town, and I went past my street, kept going, and when I got down to that area, I looked up and there was a doe and 2 fawns after my mother died. And it was the first time that had ever happened in our little village. So it was just like a sign, like the Holy Spirit brings you comfort in this way and helps you to know that everything's going to be okay. So it was a real blessing. And so today I just saw a doe. And that happened soon after my mom passed away, when I was going through that horrible turmoil with the house and everything, and was going through horrific stuff. Today, just to have the doe was just kind of like, wow, how special, after just honoring my mom and talking about honoring her with a rose on Mother's Day. And it wasn't just any rose, it was very special. So I just thought you might enjoy hearing this and seeing some of the pictures I took of the angel cloud. It looked like an angel facing to the right with another angel or a person kneeling in front of that angel. And then the angel's wing is to the left, and kind of the fabric coming down of it, the garment, and somebody kneeling, like another angel kneeling in front of that angel. It kind of reminded me of angels that we've had at Christmas time on the mantle. Some of them are in a kneeling position. So anyway, it was exciting, It just gave me a little bit of hope. I'm trying to trust the Lord for everything and for provision and all the blessings that God can bring at this time. And I just think it's thrilling to remind me that He hasn't forgotten me, and that my mom hasn't forgotten me, that she's thinking of me and sees me where she is. So I'm so grateful. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you, and I hope you enjoy the pictures of Bambi. The doe, the mother of Bambi. So that was really a neat thing that happened today. And if it blessed you, give a thumbs up. And I ask for some support for my channel, because I do a lot of work and share a lot of my divine revelations that are true from the Holy Scriptures. And it takes a while to get all the work and research together and make videos and all of that. So if you want to, everything's in the description box. It's paypal.me/KKROCOCO, which is KK Rococo. Anyway, it's in the description, and the link to my book about Jesus, Yeshua, the King of Kings, is from olivepresspublisher.com. The Almond Tree, Aaron's Rod, the Messiah, King of Israel. And I hope that those of you who've had the book have truly been blessed by it, and it's life-changing. Shalom for now, and have a beautiful day, and enjoy the pictures of the cloud, of the angels, and the deer.